vacation.
It's gotta be good.
If I get thrown out, I'll go live with my mom.
Mama, get off the mallet.
To the Real Estate and Chill podcast, the newest and coolest podcast. So tune in. Two experts discussing the real estate market. Loan officer James Choudhury and associate real estate broker Kevin Iglesias. Beware, this is not another boring podcast. This right here is the shit you need to hear, respectfully.
Welcome back to the newest episode of the Real Estate and Chill podcast. I'm your host, James Choudhury from United Mortgage, here with
Kevin Iglesias, associate broker. Today in the building, we got $1 million man, Long Island native, all the way from Wantagh. He's in the UFC. He's fought the baddest. He's beat Jorge Masvidal. He's fought Khabib. We got Iaquinta in the building.
I don't know. I'm selling houses. If you're selling a house, hit me up.
Go!
All right, Iaquinta. I like it. It's a party here. There we go.
My gosh.
What's up, fellas?
How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
We're honored to have you here, man.
It's an honor to be here. It's a cool setup. I like what you guys are doing.
The makeshift setup. The makeshift setup in the whole entire thing. We set it up in our office today, and we're on the move today, which is awesome. Anything for my man. And yeah, if you would like to introduce yourself a little bit, just tell everyone who, if they don't know about you, they're wrong for that. But introduce yourself.
My name's Iaquinta. I'm Long Island native, born and raised. Been here since day one. I travel, but I always come back home. Long Island is number one for me. I can't be away for too long. Wrestled in high school, got into fighting, amateur, pro, fought in the UFC for about 10 years. And now I am real estate, got my real estate license, real estate salesperson, associate broker at HomeSmart Premier Living Realty, and started investing, bought a couple investment properties, and just looking to learn and teach what I can, learn from what I can. I learn from everybody. I'm sure there's a few things that people can learn from me. So I just really immerse myself in the real estate game and listen to podcasts, devouring content online, just trying to immerse myself the same way I did in fighting, kind of use the same template I did to get up to kind of, the top echelon in competition in fighting. That's where I want to be in real estate too. It hurts a lot less. Sometimes it's just
I don't know.
Sometimes physically. Sometimes it's just as much, if not more, of a fight. But it's an incredible thing that I've been exposed to, and I was blessed to have mentors along the way that exposed me to real estate in their ways, and then I kind of molded it and did my own thing. And it's a process just like fighting. You could be doing it forever, and there's still something to learn. So it's it's cool, and it's introduced me to. I met so many cool people through fighting, and now I'm meeting same thing. So many cool people through real estate. So I appreciate you guys having me on.
Again, it's an honor to have you here, man. How did you transition from the UFC into real estate? Like, what made you finally say, you know what, I want to be an entrepreneur in real estate and buy these investment properties?
So I was on The Ultimate Fighter, and Uriah Faber was my coach, and he bought like a whole block, and he was renting it out to fighters. Yeah, so he was kind of like my first introduction. Before that, I had a I was working at a gym, and they were very business savvy, and they recommended that I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I read Rich Dad Poor Dad when I was probably like 17, 18 years old, and I read it, and I didn't really understand. I thought I understood. It was job benefits or entrepreneur where you're hustling and that kind of thing, and what is an asset, what's a liability. But I didn't really It wasn't until I met Uriah Faber, I read his book, saw what he did out there, and then Rich Dad Poor Dad, I feel like, is a book that I read. It's the only book I think I've read like 4 or 5 times, and every time I read it, I get something new from it. I get more from it. It's like, to me, it's like my Bible for real estate. But Uriah Faber was a big, you know, he exposed me to everything that he was doing. He bought a house at the time. You didn't have to qualify for a mortgage. They would give him, if you had a pulse, you know. So he was just, you know, buying houses and renting them out to teammates and people in the area and stuff like that. And he was living for free and just, you know,
house hacking.
Exactly. Yeah. He was like the original house hacker, but you know, he just kind of fell into it. You know what I mean? I'm sure there were plenty of other people doing it at the same time too, but since then it's really become, you know, bigger pockets. They, you know, the house hacking, and it's like a real, you know, there's a structure to it. I think he was just kind of flying by the seat of his pants. It was a good opportunity for him. He had people to rent rooms in houses too. So I saw that, and then I just started saving up my money and fought a couple times. I bought a house, did the same thing, kind of just took from him. I lived in one of the rooms. I rented out 3, you know. I was living for free. Actually, when the house was fully occupied, I was making money to live there. You know, I could travel wherever I wanted. I know there were people there kind of taking care of the house, looking after everything. So it was just a blessing. I could have had any coach, any fighter, and I probably wouldn't have learned, you know, half as much as I did from Uriah. On the fighting side, I learned a tremendous amount, and then on the real estate side, on the business side, just in life general. Yeah. You know, he wasn't one of the kind of guys that would show up, train with the team or coach the team. He came, he trained with us. He really took a liking to all of us, and he really had. It wasn't just about the fighting. It was when we went back to the house, he would have guys come over and life coaches, guys that would feed us in other ways. You know, not just on the fighting side of things. So I learned that was like 13 weeks I was on The Ultimate Fighter. I learned a lot, and I was around a lot of people that were where I wanted to go. His team was Joseph Benavidez, TJ Dillashaw at the time was on the team, Lance Palmer, Danny Castillo, Chad Mendez. Like, these guys this is where I wanted to be. These were successful guys. They all were starting to follow in Uriah's footsteps, getting into business outside of fighting. And I saw that, and I was like, that's where it's at. You know, you make your money fighting, and then you use it to do other things. You make the money fighting, and you spend it. You know, it doesn't last long, and that's something that really stuck with me. So I bought my first house, and then I got hurt, and I had a surgery. I had a real kind of rift with the UFC. They weren't paying for my surgery because I wanted to have a surgery at a really expensive hospital, and I battled with them forever. And I ended up getting this knee surgery, super long recovery. I was like, what the heck am I going to do? You know, I had money saved up, but I had bills now. I had a house. I had, you know, things to pay for. I was like, what am I going to do? If I can't fight again, you know, if this surgery doesn't heal the way I want it to, and a lot of doctors told me, the UFC doctor was like, if you have this surgery, there's a very good chance you won't fight again.
Damn.
But I had no alternative. I was in pain every day. I couldn't train. So you take the risk, you flip the coin. I went with this surgeon that had high hopes and kind of told me what I wanted to hear. But it's still in the back of my head, I was like, what if I can't fight again? You know, so I had just bought that house pretty recently. I was like the easiest buyer ever. My only thing was that I wanted a big garage. I wanted a garage that I could turn into a gym, and I'd train people out of there. So the first house my friend's mother, who was my agent at the time, showed me, it had a 2-car detached garage with a shower and a bathroom in it.
Wow.
You know, so I'm freaking.
Damn, that's
I'm
nuts.
like, this house was made for me. I was like, I bought the house, I bought the garage, and the house just kind of came. The house just came along with it. I was like, I remember that was the first one we went to, and then we saw like 3 other houses, and I wasn't even paying attention. I was like, let's just put it in. I just want that. That's the house, and you know, couple people, it's so similar with the Rich Dad Poor Dad. A few people tried to like talk me out of it. They didn't see, the house wasn't like a great house, but it was like perfect for what I wanted to do. And, if I would have listened to other people, I probably might have bought a different house, or might not have, who knows, I like rent it or something. But I ended up putting an offer in $270.
270? When was this?
$270 in Seaford. This was in like, geez, I don't even know. Time flies. It was my life is like structured when I fought. It was like right when I fought, right before I fought, in Vegas. What year could that have been? I don't know. I'd have to pull up the phone.
That'd be a long time. Not even a long time ago.
It was like 10. It was so it was probably like 7-8 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe 2 years after the other, 2014, 2015.
Wow.
Yeah. 270. It's probably worth like 500 now. Small little house, nothing crazy, but the garage is like almost as big as the house. Wow. It's wild.
It's perfect for exactly what you wanted.
Exactly.
So that's perfect.
Yep.
And we're all in the space, all we recommend to our buyers is, make sure you like the house. It's your choice. We're just here to give you the knowledge, to give you the best direction, and help you make the best decision possible for yourself.
Absolutely.
So that's perfect.
Do you want to brush off the confetti in your hair? Oh, yeah, I don't want you to watch and be like, they didn't tell me I'm going to beat those guys up. So you're licensed in real estate now. Do you ever send offers and people are like, oh, shoot, it's Al?
I've showed up at houses and people are like, you're the fighter. I'm like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Yeah.
But accept my offer.
Yeah, that's it. Some real estate agents, man, they give you the wrong attitude on the phone. You're like, hey.
Have the same energy when I come.
Yeah, have the same energy when I see you. No, for sure. But no, it's fun. I'm blessed to be able to work with, through fighting and through just being on Long Island my whole life. My father's he was always a head football coach at Hewlett High School, and then last couple of years he's been at Manhasset. So I'm just like a Long Island guy. So I've been fortunate to meet a lot of cool people on Long Island. Got people like me, you know what I mean, that I get along with, and those are the people that I really do a lot of business with. It's fun. It's not like work. I go show houses on I'm showing 5 houses to my buddy Izzo. You know what I mean? It's like we're just hanging out, looking at houses, and like you said, I'm not really like. I'm not selling them on the house. I'm not one of those guys that's like, oh, this, that, look at it. What do you like? I'm not talking the whole time. I'm not making it a show. I'll make the appointment. I'll bring you there. I'll set it up. We'll see this house. We'll see this house. We'll see this house. If you like the house, then I'm going to get it for you. I'm not trying to sell you on a house that you don't like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like you said, that's what it's all about. But,
it's like shopping with friends, what you were saying.
Exactly. It's like a good time. We're having fun. We're going shopping for a freaking house. You know what I mean? If you're going shopping for anything, house is a pretty freaking cool thing to shop for. You know what I mean? And then to see them, I remember, closing on that first house. You're kind of like unsure, but you're excited. It's like, you know what I mean? You're super excited. First time home ownership. Now you got a mortgage. You got stuff to pay for. So it's like, but it's like a really exciting time, to buy your first house and then upgrade to a bigger house. A lot of my friends, they started off maybe in a condo. They're gonna sell their condo, move to something bigger, and you see just like the look on their face at the closing day. When they get. It's a fight right now. We're fighting for houses. We'll see freaking 20, 25 houses, 30 houses. 40 freaking houses before you get an accepted offer, and then and then the deal finally goes through. It's like a battle. You just went through war with your friends. We went through war and we got a nice freaking house. You know what I mean? And that's what is really exciting for me. It's fun.
I love that. Honestly, I think that's a good point, especially in this market right now. It's just absolutely nuts. I thought it was gonna calm down. It's not calming down. Like it's been like this since the summer last year was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And then even in the winter, still insane.
Yeah.
And now it's getting I think it's getting crazier right now. Because now we're heading into the summer again. So it's there was no really cool down period, I feel like. It's been crazy, continuously. So
no, it's a wild time. Even before COVID, everyone was going, the bubble's got to burst. You know, we're at the height of the market now, and then COVID happens, and then it just keeps going up with the interest rates creeping up now. Maybe something will change, but with inflation, the prices I think are just going to keep going up. It could be like a weird time where the demand might kind of go down a little bit, but with the price of inflation, I think the prices of houses are still going to go up.
We're at 8%,
you
right?
know?
And rates are still obviously this is not, I'm not quoting anything or anything like that, but rates are back to where they were before the COVID time now. Even, they're going upward. They're saying, so right now it's end of March. They're saying by the end of the year, we're going to have 6 more rate hikes. Yeah. Even the first rate hike was crazy.
Yeah.
We saw the Fed raised it.
We might have to send out to the Feds and
please.
all these rates.
But they're saying 6 more by the end of the year. I'm hoping that we can stay at these levels because this is where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But if we keep moving up, that's going to push a lot of people out of the market. It's going to have to. So
I kind of want to rewind back and something you said, a very controversial topic. There's been a lot of talk where Dana White doesn't take care of his fighters or doesn't pay them, et cetera, et cetera. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, you're going through the knee surgery. You had to fight with them. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I'm a big. I don't think there's anybody that's argued with the UFC about pay more than me. They are frugal as they come. They're making a lot of money, and the fighters aren't making close to what they should be for what the fighters do for that organization. I think the fighters should be held in a lot higher regard. Every fighter, not just the top 3 guys, the top 2 guys, not just Conor, Masvidal, and Diaz. And everybody should be held, to a much higher regard in the eyes of the UFC and everything. There's no union for the fighters. The fighters are from all around the world. It's hard to get everybody all together on the same page. And I think the Fertittas did a great job in setting the business up that way to where the fighters are kind of disposable. It's really about the 3 letters, the UFC. And it's unfortunate when you see a lot of the fighters have a little run, they make some money, and then very quickly that can just disappear. And it happened to me. Fortunately, I kind of set myself up. It was that first injury was a little bit. It was a blessing and it was a curse, that first injury, because it really opened my eyes to, wow, these guys, you're and I was on a 5-fight win streak at the time. You know what I mean? Imagine if I was on a 2-3 fight losing streak. They would have been like, cut. You know what I mean? I'm on a 5-fight win streak, and they're arguing about paying. It was like 40 grand extra for the surgery. You know what I mean? 30 grand, something like that. And I don't know. It was it was the most frustrating time, but it put me in a good place for post fight.
Which is crazy because if you're a fighter fighting in the UFC, just looking at outside perspective, you're making the money. So why wouldn't they want to spend that 40 that could heal you, bring you back to recovery and make them even more money? No,
for sure. Yeah. That whole situation, I didn't understand it. I still don't understand it. But yeah, I guess they just didn't see the value there.
But we must applaud you because you got your license, and now you're holding your own weight. You're out there selling homes, buying investment properties, doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So
hats off to you. What do you think about that? That whole situation with Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley, everything like that. What do you think about his stance? Apparently, what he's trying to do is he's trying to make UFC fighters more money and stuff like that. What do you have a viewpoint on that?
He's the guy to do it. I think he's not bound by Dana White in any way. A lot of guys, they won't really speak out. A lot of fighters, they won't speak out. But what the heck?
Yo, you got dogs?
Is there a dog in here?
You got dogs in the building?
I don't know, bro.
What the heck was that?
I don't even know.
Somebody sent the UFC dog over here.
Somebody sent their freaking Danny. Listen on. Sent the attack dog. But,
that was so random.
That was so random.
Wait, where were we? Jake Paul.
Would you fight Jake Paul?
Yeah.
You think you could take him? You think you would beat him in a
come on
boxing
now.
match?
Dude, I got to be honest with you. He's getting good. He's getting good. He's probably got like 20 pounds on me. You know.
What do you weigh?
Right now, me?
Yeah.
Right now, I'm probably like 180, 185. I think he fought at like 190. He cut down to fight at 190. So he's big. I mean, he's a big guy. I think. Yeah. I mean, I'm beat up. I'm hurt. I'm freaking selling houses. You know. But you know, if I think it would be a better MMA fight.
I don't think it would be a competition if it was an MMA fight.
Yeah,
it wouldn't
no,
even be like.
I don't think so. I give those guys credit though. They work hard. They don't. You know, they got all the money to do what they want to do. They're bringing in the best trainers. They're training hard, and they're doing. I think it's from what it seems like they're doing the right things. So they're gonna get good pretty quick, and it seems like he's got it out for Dana White. So I think he might be the guy to make some change. You know, I think he could definitely do it. It's pretty funny. He's a funny guy. he bought a piece of the UFC of Zuffa. He bought stock in the company, so he's part owner now, technically, and he bought a pretty fair share from what I hear. So he's like in there. You know what I mean? He can do. I think he's quick. He's smart. He's got a business mind. He's got the right people around him. I think he's going to do some damage for sure.
Honestly, that fight with Woodley, I was just like, damn. I was not expecting that. I thought Woodley was going to take it. I really thought so.
Yeah. No,
Got to keep your hands up.
That's what it was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Tyron Woodley or Ben Askren were really.
Nah.
They were kind of they were making good money, you know.
Yeah.
But they're wrestlers.
Yeah, they're wrestlers. They're boxing. You know, Ben Askren. Nobody really knew with Jake Paul what they were getting, and then he went out there. He's got some power. He's freaking knocking guys out just to do that alone. You know, just to have that natural ability to knock somebody out says something. And then to start doing it now, he's doing it to a former world champion, how many time defending world champion Tyron Woodley. Even if Tyron Woodley's coming right off the couch, I think which happened the second time. I don't know if he was training too much, but yeah, it says a lot. He's definitely doing something right.
I got a question for you. I need to see. Do you think that I have knockout power? I'm showing you a video right now. Let's see.
You're gonna laugh.
I'm not.
You're gonna laugh. Your boy Sterling got a fight coming up too.
You think I have the knockout power?
You got to get at least 500, I think, right, for knockout power.
I don't even know.
He's the first guy who got negative.
Oh yeah.
You think I got the knockout power?
Yeah. 800. This guy better watch out. This guy's got some. He's got some power in there. There you go.
Don't gas him. Come on.
Yo, he's gonna train me. I'm gonna beat you up.
But that's the thing. You can have the knockout power, but then you also got to be able to land the punch, and that's one thing that Jake Paul's been able to do. He's been able to land against these guys very early against Askren, and then yeah, he I think he learned a lot in the fight against Tyron Woodley, the first one, and then the second one got Tyron a little tired, and one mistake, that's all it takes, especially when you got the kind of power that guy's got. So you know you could be the best in the world, but you make one mistake and Jake Paul lands that right hand. That's a power shot. You know what I mean?
Some people are saying it's staged. Do you think that's true?
Why would it be staged? I would not get knocked out like that.
I mean, think about the money they're making.
Yeah, I mean,
nah, I don't think it's.
I don't think it's staged.
Is it staged? No, but is it set up to a way where that these guys are kind of at a disadvantage? You know, I mean, they're older, retired, coming off the couch. You saw Askren. The guy looked like a pud. You know what I mean? that guy. You know what I mean? You look at the guy, you're like, all right, it's not really, you know, but it's the aura going into it. It's like this guy is a world class athlete in wrestling, made a name in the UFC, good talker. He can get, you know, he can fill seats.
Funny guy.
Yeah. And then Tyron Woodley brings a crowd. So he was also same thing. Tyron Woodley. The first fight we didn't really know. We didn't really, you know, and Jake, he weathered a lot. He got hit and he came back. He's tough. He's tough. He came back and he fought through. He got the decision, rematch. You know, once you beat, so I feel like their careers are going like opposite directions. You know what I mean? Jake Paul's only going to get better. He's in his mid-20s, and he's working hard. He's only going to get better. Tyron Woodley's been at the top, you know. They could keep fighting. It's just going to keep getting worse for him. You know what I mean? And it's only going to keep getting better for Jake Paul. So I think now is the time Jake Paul's got to fight somebody that's like similar age, similar weight. That's the other thing. These guys were also, Tyron Woodley fought at 170. Now the fight's at 190. Jake Paul's cutting down. He was just looking at him, he's the bigger guy.
Yeah.
You know, and Askren too. Yeah, but he is knocking people out. So he's got power. And
I didn't like Askren since he beat Lawler, and I thought that I didn't like him from that point. Like that was his first fight in, right? Against Robbie Lawler.
Yeah,
and then I thought Robbie Lawler won. I mean, I don't know, but
hold on. We got to go to a controversial fight that you had with Masvidal, where people were booing you. How'd that feel? Because having that victory, obviously your endorphins were, you know, adrenaline was rushing. You were happy, and everybody's like, boo.
Yeah, no, that was wild. That was I fought hard. 3 rounds. He was probably better in like every area. And that at that time, you know, I was kind of young, up and coming guy. He was a established veteran. He had that was his last fight at 155, so he had a tough cut down to 155. But the first round, he landed some good stuff on me. He hurt me at the end of the first round, and I definitely could tell that this guy was he was the fastest, strongest, most experienced guy that I had ever fought at that point. But I was definitely confident that I could win no matter what. I had really just worked my ass off from the time, really for years leading up to that. I was just waiting for that moment. I was looking up to guys like Masvidal, like Joe Lazone and Ross Pearson. These guys, I was looking up to them. They were on my radar way longer than I was on theirs. So I got the opportunity to fight George Masvidal. I was licking my lips. I was like, let's freaking go. You know, I'm sure he was like, oh, I got to fight this freaking up and coming kid. You know, like who the hell is he? It was actually supposed to be Masvidal versus Benson Henderson, and he got hurt or something, and I kind of filled in somewhat short notice. But yeah, I fought hard. I came back. I took my lickings in the first round. Second round, I started to come back. Third round, I was chasing him around the cage, and he definitely got tired. He definitely wasn't having the success that he had in the first round. I got the decision, and yeah, when that crowd booed,
don't punch me.
When that crowd booed, I always thought to myself, I would always watch fighters and they'd win a decision or something, and the crowd would boo them or for whatever reason, and I always thought to myself, I was like, if the crowd ever boos me, then they would always go, oh, come on, you know, I fought, come on, and they would like reason with the crowd, and I was like, I go, that looks so weak to me. I go, if you ever boo me, who are these people to be booing the guys in the freaking thing? No matter what, if they're booing the judges or whatever, don't boo in my presence. You know what I mean? Like they should be cheering for everything. But yeah, when I heard those boos, I kind of short circuited. I blacked out. And yeah,
that's definitely tough. Like, you know, you're working so hard for something, and then just like people don't appreciate it or whatever the case may be. Like, that's annoying.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
yeah, no, it's definitely unique to sport. You know what I mean? The fans will.
They're here to see you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're paying to see you.
Another controversial topic, Colby, Masvidal. You see that?
Oh, yeah. That was
He didn't
crazy.
run up on you like that, so.
Well, I'm definitely not talking about his family. You know what I mean? That's it's a line that
you don't
some
cross.
people cross, and some people, you know, there's people that you can cross that line with, and they can, you know, brush it off and chalk it up to fight promotion, or he doesn't mean that, it's all fight promotion. And then there's other people like Masvidal, you say that and he's a different depending on your upbringing or whatever it is.
Your JV beta.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta expect that.
There has to be like a fine line between like selling the show and like actually attacking somebody. Like I feel like there's a definitely like a fine line where it's like, you know what I mean? Like you shouldn't be doing something like that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know how much of it's on the show. Like I don't know how much of it's real. Like, but I know that they have beef. Like Colby, Covington, and Jorge Masvidal. I know they definitely have beef now, right?
You know who I want to see in the UFC? Chris Rock versus Will Smith.
Yeah, I would have liked to see Chris Rock just. I think he was about this far. He was just like a millisecond away from just unleashing the wrath of the biggest roast. He could have roasted Will Smith.
That would have been the best.
And you could see he was thinking about. He was like, I could.
Yeah, I remember that.
He was like, I was just hoping he was just gonna go off.
You almost had a raging outlaw.
He could have just. He's going, don't you ever talk about my effing wife. Okay, I won't talk about Jada. He said, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. Okay, I'll keep it out of my mouth. Jada. Just like,
Take a little shot.
Just like he could have.
But hold on, he got a strong chin.
Yo, and
Will Smith is a much bigger guy.
But honestly, hats off to him for just taking that because I think that shows more like he
had his hands behind his back while at it. Can you slap him so we can
Why me?
Yo, you way more.
Do it for the show. Do it for the show, bro.
Do it for the views. Let's go viral. Your boy got a fight coming up too, Sterling.
Big fight.
Very contra fight that he with the belt.
No, the last one was unfortunate. He went out there, he was looking great, and then kind of got tired, more tired than I've ever seen him. He kind of attributed that to the fight day. COVID restrictions. They usually you go out to eat in the morning and then you come back and you do a little workout. You maybe eat a little bit more, then you go to the event. You get the bus will take you to the venue, but here he was like stuck in his room. He kind of threw off his whole regimen that he has on fight day. So I think he's going to make a big adjustment in that. He was splitting time between Vegas and Long Island during that training.
He's
camp.
from Long Island, right?
Uniondale.
Uniondale.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was kind of split. He bought a house. He's another guy that's been just, he kind of saw what I was doing in real estate and he took with it and ran. We both went to one of our friends does one of those real estate investment courses. We went out and he invited us out there. Me and Aljo went out together, and Aljo actually did he flipped a house remotely, and he learned a lot. I think he just kind of jumped in there, and it was a house in Arizona, and he broke even on it, but I think he learned a lot about.
Wait, you're saying he flipped it remote like he's never been to the house?
He bought it. He bought it, and then he ended up having to go out after he bought it. Yeah, wow. He bought it. He had an agent go. He was. I mean, there's people that's their niche. Is just they find a market, they break it down. It's really just about the numbers. Me, I'm more like my properties. They're cool. I go to them and I kind of like feel. You get a feeling. You know what I mean? People would want to live here. This is where if I could do this, I could add a little bit more revenue. If it's got a 3-car garage, I can rent the car. I can rent it out. But there's people that their niche is remote investing. They flip houses or they buy houses and rent them out remotely. They have a whole system that they do to get contractors, property managers, and stuff like that. So Aljo, I think he would have went that route, but he kind of got a bad taste in his mouth from the first property he did. So now he's got 2 houses here on Long Island, and he just bought one in Vegas.
Wow,
and,
nice! Congrats to him.
Yeah. No, I mean, another guy that he's not bound by fighting. He's if it all ended today, he's set himself up pretty well, and I think that's what everybody really needs to do. But at the time he was splitting that training camp, he was splitting time between Vegas and Long Island, and that's a lot, traveling back and forth and back and forth. Like, he was doing 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there. You can't get in like a flow. I think he's really gotten in a great flow. He's been 8 weeks here on Long Island, training hard for this one. He's looking the best I've ever seen him look, and he wasn't looking that good before. I don't remember it, but I've seen him go 5-6 rounds hard, and then still be throwing people around after practice. You know, he's a freak, and he can do things that just physically other people can't do. Like, I'll never be able to throw kicks like him. He could just bring his leg up and over. You know, it's just like the flexibility, the dexterity. He can just, and now he's really learning how to set him up good. He's setting up those kicks. Even when he was exhausted against Petr Yan in the 4th round, right before he ended up taking that knee, he landed a head kick, kind of like to the back of the head. And I think Petr Yan, I think he was getting frustrated. I think he knew exactly what was going to happen. He was pissed that Aljo was still in that fight. Aljo was he knew Aljo was exhausted, but Aljo was annoying him, still landing shots, just coming forward. His body was shutting down, but his mind just said, no way, I'm going to just keep pushing through. And he did. He was pushing through right up to the end. You know, super illegal knee, super, just disregard for the rules. He knew the rules. You don't get to that level. You don't become a champion caliber fighter without knowing you can't knee the guy when you're down like that. Point blank to the head. Like, it's almost criminal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that causes...
It's a dangerous sport.
That's scary to see. Like, you don't even like looking at that. Like, there's, like, some things, like, it's entertaining, right? But, like, there's just some things that, like, you just don't even want to see. Like, that's just, like, messed up. Like,
no, for sure. It was,
Any predictions on the upcoming fight?
Come on, you got to know he's rooting for his boy.
Oh, of course he is.
I think he's going to...
Slap him already. Slap him, please.
I think there's a good shot. Look, it's going to go... I think that Aljo, he's got the... Now, he can wear on him for 5 rounds. Even if the first round, Petr Yan's kind of slow, and then he starts picking it up towards the end of the first round. I think Aljo, he can keep the same pace, that pace that he had in the first fight. He had that pace, the first 4 minutes of that fight, the pace was insane. And a lot of people, if they watch that fight back again, it's not as one-sided as people think. Aljo was landing a lot of good stuff, especially in the early parts of that fight. So I think he comes in there with a full gas tank, feeling good. He can go 5 hard rounds. He could be dominant the whole 5 rounds. And there's a good shot he can get him out there. You saw what he did to Sandhagen, what he does to a lot of guys. He gets your back, and it's not a good night. He's a nightmare. He's a nightmare in the wrestling realm in general, and then if he gets your back, he's a master at getting the back and finishing from the back.
Yeah, we got to hit him up in his DMs and get him on the show.
Got to get him on the show.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, who was the toughest fighter that you faced? Was it Khabib?
Yeah, I'd say Khabib was definitely...
Man, his wrestling bears at like 5 years old.
Yeah. I didn't tell. Probably the worst was the Cerrone fight. I took a lot of damage in that one. I didn't take as much in the Khabib fight. It was more of he out wrestled me and controlled me and stuff like that. But yeah, Khabib, he's just got such a good. He's got a funnel. He's good at getting guys against the cage, and then when he gets you against the cage, he's a master at getting the takedown from there. From there, he locks up the legs and he just works people over from there. So he knows what he's good at, and he's good at getting people there. He gets people to where he wants them. And I knew I didn't want to be against the cage, and sure enough, later in the fight, I found myself against the cage, and that's when he was getting the takedowns.
Yeah, but you went all 5.
I went all 5.
That's crazy.
Pretty. I mean, if you're not going to win, I guess that's the second best. You survive.
But you took that fight such short notice too, right? That was like...
Yeah, I was supposed to fight Paul Felder that night, and then the Khabib thing, the Conor thing with the bus happened.
Yeah.
That was just the wildest weekend of my life. If there's ever a wilder weekend than that, I don't know. because that was it was crazy. I found out the day before that I was fighting Khabib for the title, and
how did you feel when you just heard
nuts.
that? That's crazy.
Yeah, it's like, here we go. You know what I mean? I was just like, not much time to prepare for him, so I just relied on my life's work of training and everything that I've done up until that point. You know,
if you could fight him again now, like, because you obviously you knew from such short notice. If you trained for that fight, you think you would have taken him?
Yeah, you like to think so. You know, but he would have been able to train for me too. But I do think that I went in there with a little. My confidence wasn't where it could have been, just because it was the whole thing was just so wild. I tried to like tell myself to, all right, be in the moment. You know what I mean? Like, the whole thing just happened so fast. It was like, boom, you're in this fight. Boom. Now I'm like there in the cage. Khabib's right there. You know, it all just happened so fast. I didn't really have time to really process. But yeah, if he had, you know, if we had time to train, he would too. So who knows how it would have ended up. But yeah, I think it would have been cool to have had time if I would have had time to prepare. But that's how this fight game is. You got to be ready on a day's notice. That's what I learned from that for sure.
That's crazy.
And you use that now in real estate because it's so unexpected.
Oh yeah, no. There's so much transfer over. People don't realize how similar fighters are and real estate agents are. It's like two totally different things, two totally different types of people. But you know, there's millions of real estate agents in the world, and there's millions of fighters in the world. You got to have something that stands out. You got to have something. You could be the best real estate agent in the world, but you got to be able to market yourself. You got to be able to get out there. Same thing as a fighter. People have to want to see you fight, and people have to want to work with you as an agent. So you got to have an X factor. Really, it comes down to hard work. You could be a naturally gifted knockout artist. You know, some people are just born with that power to knock people out. Some people are just born with the gift of gab. They can sell anything. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was really not either of those. I wasn't like a real hard one-punch knockout guy, and I definitely don't have the gift of like selling everything, but I do think that I can outwork everybody, and that's where I make up that gap. You know, I don't have the one-punch knockout power, but I work hard enough to where if I land one shot, I'll be able to follow up and get you out of there. Same thing in real estate is I'm not like the best salesperson in the world, but if I get a good client, I find the right house, I'm closing the deal. You know what I mean? So I think it's very similar in a lot of ways.
Any crazy stories that you want to share, listing-wise or buyer-wise?
Oh, man.
He's got a bunch.
Just like, so I met with this woman to sell her house. I don't know. She no, it's actually kind of sad. It's kind of sad. It's not, I don't know. It's just a wild story. I met this woman and then she passed away the next day.
Whoa.
Like, I met with her, signed the contract and everything. And then her neighbor called me and was like, she passed away. I was like, what the fuck? Like, dude,
damn,
that was
nuts.
like,
that's crazy.
Dude, what the hell? And so I was like, wow, you lose, you're like, you don't know how to feel. You're like, I don't know, that's weird.
That's nuts.
You know?
Seeing somebody.
I met somebody the day before.
And then I had like this whole plan. I was gonna sell the house, getting ready for the open house, and she had to do the X, Y, and Z before listing it, and we were all ready to go. And then that all just, and I'd never even really found out what happened to her. But then I was driving like a month later, and I got a call from a weird random number, and I answered the phone, and it was her ex-husband, and he was like, "Hey, I heard that you had met with my ex-wife before she passed, and that you had a
agreement that
she was going to use you to sell the house," and ended up kind of becoming friendly with him and the rest of the family, and selling the house.
Wow.
I don't know how he must have like went through, there must have been papers on the table or something when he was going through things. And so that was that was pretty wild. Yeah, there's always something. There's nothing ever goes smooth. There's always there's always a hiccup in the road, and it's just you gotta just push through it. It's like it's like anything else. Something pops up, controversy, or like the deal starts going bad. You can feel bad and like pity yourself and lock yourself in the room and like freaking hide from everything, or you can go, let's freaking get this done. Let's figure this out. Let's make it happen. And you might still fail, but if you have the right attitude, it can only be good. Like even if I believe in real estate karma. You guys believe in real estate karma? A deal goes bad, like something, the worst thing happens, or you have like the hardest deal, you get through it, and then the next one is just like easy.
Walk in the park.
It's like a walk. You're like, I deserve this. You know what I mean? Like things go pretty smooth for like the next one too, and then freaking you're hit with like no COs. It comes up last minute title search. They got the homeowner thinks that they should be getting more. They don't like the buyer, and so they kill the deal. And it's like people are fighting themselves, and you're a casualty of war. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're just trying to do your best, and you can only help people so much to do, help them help themselves. Some people, they just, one guy, yeah.
That's a Chris Rock moment.
Yeah. One guy just didn't like the buyer. He just didn't like him. Made a great offer. He was actually the only offer. He made a great offer. The property was a unique property, kind of weird property, probably not too desirable to people that wanted to move to that area. He didn't like the buyer. He didn't like the buyer. So it was like every single thing was a fight. And it was like, dude, this guy, the inspection, they did the inspection, and the guy was like, I know he's just trying to find something. The inspector's he's just trying to find. I go, well, that's kind of that's what his job is. He's doing his job. He's inspecting the house. He goes, no, he's just going to try to get money off. It's like, well, it's probably going to happen. If there's something wrong with them, they're going to ask for money off, and then you can say yes or no. And we don't really have another buyer, so you might have to work with them a little bit. And it just was a headache, and eventually the deal ended up falling through.
I've realized those clients are always the ones that know that something's wrong with their house, but they didn't disclose it to you, and then hoping that the home inspector doesn't realize it either. Yeah, they're just like, let's not say anything at all.
No, absolutely, and that's exactly what happened. There were some issues with the house that needed to get permitted, and the buyer was willing to wait for that. Could have taken up to like 6 months, and he was willing to wait. But the seller was like, we don't like him anyway. I was like, all right, I don't even know.
Any listing agents talk to you crazy you mentioned before, and then when you come up, you're like, oh, never mind.
Yeah. This one guy he looked me up online, and he must not like, I must have looked at my Zillow or something, and he must not have like Google searched that I was a UFC fighter. He just saw that I've been doing this for 6 years. The last 12 months I haven't done a lot of business because I had to fight in November. Right. I referred a lot of things off to other agents. So I did a good deal of referrals over the last couple of years, because when I have a fight coming up, I refer things to other agents. So on my Zillow, I guess he's done more business than me, so he thought he could speak to me in a certain way. Yeah, ego trip. Serious ego trip. And it's kind of like it shows what a person's about when they look you up on Zillow and they determine how they can talk to you by how many sales you've done. It's like I don't even know if it's a newer agent, I would help them. You would say, listen, maybe you should. I would suggest maybe doing it this way. Maybe this isn't such a big deal, and that might be more, beneficial to spend your time focusing on that. But to kind of just degrade somebody, it's it was. Did
you beat him up? That's what we want to know.
No, I didn't beat him up, but I think he kind of thought I was threatening him. I think when I told him that I fought. But yeah,
yo, how did that go? How do you drop that line though? It's like I'm a UFC fighter, right?
I looked you up because I goes, you didn't really look me up. He goes, oh yeah, what does that mean? Oh, because if you look me up, I do other things besides real estate. He goes, oh yeah, what does that mean? I fight people. I was just telling him what I did. He took it as a threat. I don't know, but.
If somebody told me that, I would just be so scared.
If I can fight Khabib, I'll fight you.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
So before we wrap up, two main questions. One, I'll ask this one first. What's your dream fight in the UFC that you want to see in the future?
McGregor, versus him, or just in general?
Well, let's do that. Who would you want to fight, and then name like another fight that you would just love to see.
I don't really want to fight anybody.
He's a lover.
I'm just chilling now. I'm selling houses. Yeah. But who would I want to see in the UFC?
Hasbull versus Conor McGregor.
You know what? I want to see John Jones, Brock Lesnar still, or John Jones versus like. I would love seeing Ngannou versus
John Jones versus Ngannou would be that would be a big one.
Yeah,
that would be a big one. I feel like, I feel like Masvidal and Colby have to fight again now.
Yeah, definitely,
right?
definitely.
Like that's got to happen again. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really looking forward to Aljo versus Petr Yan.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
There you go. You promoting his boys' fight.
And Merab Dvalishvili. He's a Georgian from the Republic of Georgia that fights now out of Long Island. He fights. Oh, wow. He's on our team too. Him and Aljo, they go to war with each other. This guy, he's built like he's something else.
We gotta look into him.
Yeah, he just won his last fight. He doesn't have anything coming up. I think he broke into the top 10 now, and he had his last fight was insane. I'm not gonna be able to think of the guy's name, the Brazilian guy that he fought. What the heck is his name? I forget.
I'm pretty sure I've seen him before.
Yeah, the guy rocked Merab. Merab was like,
oh, I think I've seen that.
He was like out on his feet, and this guy is just all heart. He freaking dug deep. He survived the first onslaught. The other guy got tired a little bit, and Merab just put it on him. It was probably one of the most exciting first rounds ever that I've seen. I mean, he was out about the ref was about to stop it, and Merab just kept moving, kept doing what he needed to do to keep the ref away from stopping it, and then he turned the tide. He got a hold of him. Took a second for him to kind of get his wits back about him, and then he just put it on him. So Merab, he's a guy that I'm really looking forward to the future for him. We got a lot of great guys out of the Serra-Longo team that are coming up now. Ton of guys. So we're gonna be around for a long time. There's I think the best might be yet to come, because we've got some guys 145, 155 that are real problems, and they're training with Aljo and Merab right now. So they're very fortunate, these guys that are coming up, to have a guy like Aljo in the room to see. A lot of gyms they might not have a guy like that for these guys to look up to, and Merab, the same thing. These two guys, I mean, they work harder than everybody. Merab is always in the gym. He's always working. And the same thing with Aljo. Aljo they just outwork everybody, and that's what it takes in everything, in real estate, in fighting. It's all about just, you could have all the natural talent in the world, but if you don't put in the work, that's the X factor. It's how hard are you going to work? Are you going to do what you need to do when you need to do it and get the job done?
Respect. All right, question number 2. What can we see from you real estate wise in the future? What are your goals? What are your goals?
Yeah, I mean, so I have my goals written down, and
vision board.
I got the vision. Well, this stuff is all, the vision board is something that I got to get back to. I was doing that for a little bit with the fighting, and I use all the same kind of like goal setting things that I've learned throughout the years with fighting that I use for real estate. But the vision board, that's a good one. I got to get that vision board up. Just seeing it, but yeah, what I want to do is really just be able to. I enjoy selling houses and I enjoy being a real estate agent. But I don't really. I think that's more. You know, I want to make the money doing that to invest in
rental properties,
and then just manage those. Get a portfolio big enough to where I don't have to manage them myself. I can hire a property manager to take care of it all, and just really do what I want to do when I want to do it. You know, go to the gym and help people, help these upcoming fighters, and not really have to worry about showing houses here and there. I do love doing it. I love the people that I work with. I'm very fortunate, but I think I'd like to help these guys that are upcoming be a little bit more there for those guys. So, you know, that's what I enjoy doing. Definitely, in the summer, I want to be on the beach hanging out in between trainings. You know what I mean? Just,
Fair.
you know, and it's all, I think it's just hard work, make that money and then make it work for me, right, rather than spend it on something silly and it's tough right now. I'm like, oh, summer's coming up. I got a couple closings. I could probably buy a boat. I could probably take out a loan and buy a pretty crazy boat. But is that gonna, you know, if I can find a way to do that and make returns on it, rent out the boat somehow, you know, I don't know. Or
have fights on the boat.
Go
viral.
We just go out in international waters. There's no athletic commission. We can have any kind of fights we want. But yeah, it's probably more of a wise play to buy another house, and hopefully it'll make me a good return, and those returns will pay for the boat eventually when I do it. You know what I mean? It's just that's kind of how my mindset is now. It's you know, getting the assets to pay for everything that I want to do.
Well, man, it was an honor having you here. We appreciate it. This $1 million episode, a lot of fun, a lot of knowledge. You heard it here first. He'll fight Jake Paul for over $1 million, even Hasbull as well. Any listing agents talking crazy to this young man, I feel bad for you.
We got him in our corner now. So don't mess with us.
Where can people reach out to you, man?
Instagram, Twitter, at Iaquinta. And, yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I can't thank you guys enough. You guys have a good thing going on here. Keep it going.
Appreciate it.
I'm gonna keep watching and keep tuning in.
Appreciate it.
Beautiful.
Well, thank you so much. That was the latest episode of the Real Estate Show podcast. We will see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Real Estate and Chill podcast with James Choudhury and Kevin Iglesias. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, share this with your friends, your enemies, your mother-in-law. No, seriously, this podcast is so fucking good, you might want to tell your ex. See you next time.